Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 17th installment of the Soul Search webinar series. We will be starting with an opening prayer, immediately followed by the national anthem. So I would like to call on for our opening prayer the elder of BCBP Las Piñas. Let's welcome Brother Lito Pardo.
Thank you, Brother Greg. Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us this afternoon to peek into the future as we usher into this so-called digital age. Father, we are all excited, at the same time cautious, because of the rapid innovations and so much uncertainties and possible disruptions in our way of life. The first industrial revolution of the 18th century was characterized by the shift from cottage industry and traditional agriculture to a system of factory-based manufacturing, followed by the second industrial revolution of the 19th and 20th century with a revolution in transportation and communication system, spurred by the use of steel, oil, automobiles, and combustion engines, spanning a long period of more than 200 years. However, the transition from the second to the third and fourth industrial revolution has happened so fast. Actually, it happened in just a little more than half a century. And it has initially created so much disruptions and uncertainties in our midst. Father,
7 yung participants.
we are asking this question. Are there opportunities in store for us under this new environment? What are the threats that we need to confront and we need to prepare for? Our concern is how to sustain and maintain our livelihoods, how to future-proof and relevant in this digital age. Father, guide us and help us discern properly our new roles in this new evolving environment so that we will remain a productive force in our society. All this, Father, we ask in prayer in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, helas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinagang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at karoon niya kailan pang ay di magdidinig, lumalang araw ng warhabit pagsinta, huwag langit sa piling ko, ang inigaya ng
Thank you very much, Brother Lito, for your opening prayer. And again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang hapon mga kababayan to the 17th installment of the Soul Search webinar series. Today, it's entitled Industry 4.0 at the Philippines, Threats or Opportunities? And this is being co-presented by Soul Philippines, the Public Policy Research Group, and Rotary Club Makati Central, headed by Mr. Ed Garma. Soul Philippines is a non-partisan civil society organization composed of parents, business executives, and professionals seeking to rekindle the soul of our nation towards our long-cherished values of makadiyos, makatao, makabansa, and makakalikasan. Our chairman is none other than Attorney Joey Lina, and yours truly, Greg Atienza, Secretary General. We would also like to thank the Public Policy Research Group, or PPRG, which is a think tank composed of eminent personalities, including former legislators, cabinet secretaries, and undersecretaries, sifting through the various policy proposals and funneling the same here through the Soul Search webinar series. Members of PPRG include those who have already presented the various policy-oriented webinars, and is likewise chaired by Attorney Joey Lina. For your information, all the 16 previous webinars covering a vast array of topics from the West Philippine Sea, from education, inclusive growth, food for all, LGUs, modernizing the Philippine health system, climate proofing, helping our poor, internet for all, workers in the age of fire and pandemic, on social media, on Halalan 2022, beautiful and orderly cities and housing, the call of the sea, Pangulo o Panggulo sa Halalan 2022, and the previous one, Kalinga ng Kalikasan sa Kaunlarang Karagatan. These are all available for you for your viewing at the Facebook page of Soul Philippines. We would also like to thank our strategic partners, the AIM Alumni Association of Philippines, with thanks to Chairman Michael Sherwin Makatangay, the ICMA Student Chapter of the National College of Public Administration and Governance through its EVP, Ofelia Odilao Bisnar, the Rotary District 3830, we thank Governor Chacha Camacho, Indios Bravos Design, thanks to Jerry and Sherbet Manalili, and the Alcacid Total Entertainment and Artist Management, or the A-Team. Right now, I would like to introduce the moderator of today's webinar. He is a former Senator of the Republic, former Secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government, former Governor of Laguna Province, and the Chairman of Soul Philippines, none other than Attorney Joey Lina.
Thank you very much, Greg. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. The Soul Philippines, in cooperation with the Public Policy Research Group, aims to educate our people on the pressing issues that confront the country. It is our belief that the people are informed of these issues, as well as the solutions to the problems of our country. Then they will be in a better position to decide on matters that affect us all, especially in the choice of leaders both in national and local government, or in making decisions in business and in other human endeavors. So today we have Industry 4.0, Threats or Opportunities as the topic. And we are very happy that the person who I know is well abreast, well updated, and truly knowledgeable about the topic, has consented to be our resource person or our guest speaker in today's webinar. Her name is Dr. Rafaelita Aldaba, currently Undersecretary for the Competitiveness and Innovation Group of the Philippine Department of Trade and Industry. She fulfills a key role in the formulation and implementation of the Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy, which puts innovation at the heart of the country's new industrial policy. Undersecretary Aldaba is also a governor of the Philippine Board of Investments, or BOI, the country's primary industry development arm and lead investment promotion agency. She is leading DTI's initiatives in preparing industries for the fourth industrial revolution and digital transformation, establishing regional inclusive innovation centers, developing new creative industries, and growing a robust startup ecosystem. She oversees the administration and operations of the Competitiveness Bureau, Philippine Accreditation Bureau, and the Bureau of Trade and Industry Policy Research. A researcher turned policymaker, Undersecretary Aldaba was Senior Research Fellow and Acting Vice President of the Philippine Institute for Development Studies prior to her previous appointment as Assistant Secretary of DTI's Industry Development and Trade Policy Group. She has extensive research experience, authored various publications on development issues, and conceptualized and managed research projects with various international organizations, including World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and the United States Agency for International Development. She has been my guest in my teleradio program at DZMM, ABS-CBN, I think twice already. And I always relish the opportunity to have her on board in my teleradio program because she is truly an expert in this area of study and research. So let us welcome Dr. Rafaelita Aldaba. Magandang hapon sa iyo at mainit na pagtanggap dito sa ating webinar today. Dr. Rafaelita Fita Aldaba.
Magandang hapon po at maraming salamat, Senator Dina. I-share ko lang po yung aking slides bago po ako mag-umpisa. Nakikita niyo po ba yung aking screen? I hope nakikita niyo po. But once again, isang magandang hapon po sa lahat ng nandito ngayon. And thank you for the kind introduction, Senator Dina. It's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you as well to the Seoul, Philippines for inviting me to this gathering, and good afternoon as well to my co-speaker, Mr. Earl Kua. Okay, so let me start. So today we're going to discuss Industry 4.0. I'll try to focus on the ecosystem, as well as the policies and programs of the Department of Trade and Industry as we pursue digital transformation. But first, I'd like to discuss as well the state of Industry 4.0 in the country using the results of a technology utilization survey that we conducted in 2019. And then we'll proceed to the Industry 4.0 plans and programs, and then the way forward and next steps that we will be carrying out. Prior to this crisis, or prior to this pandemic, we were already experiencing the entry of the fourth industrial revolution technologies. These new technologies have been disrupting the traditional way of delivering services. Manufacturing is being disrupted by artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics, cloud computing towards smart manufacturing, smart factory, and smart products. And so now more than ever, we realize the importance of adopting these new technologies They have played a crucial role in keeping societies functional in times of quarantines or lockdowns. And the pandemic has also accelerated the use of technologies like digital payments, telehealth, and robotics. And these new technologies would also be needed as we restart the economy and as we prepare for the post-crisis future. What you can see on the slide are results of a survey. One was carried out by Microsoft, another one was from the Future of Jobs report. But it is interesting, in the Philippines, this survey was carried out by Microsoft. 8 out of 10 organizations in the Philippines are speeding up digitalization to adapt to the new reality. And 88% of those interviewed or companies that were surveyed, these are the prime decision makers in Philippine business. What they are saying is innovation is now considered a must among Philippine enterprises, rather than just nice to have, which used to be the dominant response prior to the pandemic. So in this slide, I'm sharing with you a report by McKinsey, and it was found that 48% of activities in the Philippines, equivalent to 18.2 million jobs, could be automated. 6 million in agriculture, 3.4 in retail, and 2.4 in manufacturing. The chart that you can see on the slide, this was from a study carried out by the AIM, showed that agriculture, forestry, and fishing sector has the highest probability of jobs being automated. For financial insurance, the probability is 79%, mining and quarrying, 78%, for accommodation and food service, 72%. Manufacturing is at 65%, human health, 33%, and education at 15%. But please note that this study was carried out before the pandemic. And as what we're seeing now in education, we have adopted online as well. We have adopted online education. We're using all these new technologies to deliver education to our students. And in both reports, the message is low-skilled, low-educated, and routinized jobs are the most vulnerable to the adverse effect of technological change. I'm sure you're thinking not only of the implications of these new technologies to industries, but as well as on the impact on workers. PwC indicated that AI and robots could lead to both displacement and income effects through which jobs are destroyed and created. As you can see on the figure, the displacement effect is due to humans losing their jobs to robots, but at the same time, there are cost savings from the point of view of the company from the use of AI and robots, which would allow them to lower their prices. And in turn, this would increase consumers' real income and spending, thereby increasing the demand for goods and services. And this would then force firms to hire more workers as they expand their capacity. But at the same time, the use of AI and other related technologies could also create new jobs arising from new tasks that emerge from these new technologies. And so the future of work will depend on the balance between labor replacing technologies and labor augmenting technologies, particularly the emergence of new tasks at which humans have a comparative advantage. And of course, what we want would be the development of more labor augmenting technologies. And as we keep saying, maybe we should redefine artificial intelligence as augmented intelligence. And to see how jobs are evolving in the Philippines, we see from the LinkedIn 2020 Emerging Jobs Report that the digital economy is already driving the country's emerging jobs. Software engineers and developers are indeed critical for businesses that are pursuing digital transformation. In an assessment report on the Readiness for Future Production assessment, the World Economic Forum indicated that the Philippines is among the legacy countries characterized by strong production base, but with unfavorable drivers of production, and hence we are classified as a legacy country, meaning we are at risk for the future. And the report recommended for countries, legacy countries like the Philippines, to focus their policies on reskilling and upskilling the workforce, upgrading the technology platform, as well as pursuing more effective innovation policies. To help us understand the Industry 4.0 readiness of our firms and industries, we conducted a technology utilization survey in 2019. And this survey assessed 8 technology dimensions covering planning and scheduling, equipment connectivity and data management, manufacturing activity management, material management and handling, equipment maintenance, quality, shop floor visibility, and cybersecurity. And on the overall, the bulk of the companies have very low to low technology utilization, meaning these companies are still using purely manual operations or spreadsheet management system using Excel, or a standalone database management system, but still with legacy applications. You can see in here, for instance, that among we distributed over 1,000 questionnaires all over the country to manufacturing companies all over the country, and we were able to retrieve around 145 or up to 150 responses. And as you can see in here, 35% of those of the company respondents are still using Excel sheets, which are not integrated with their manufacturing systems. 46% have no established cybersecurity systems, and 31% starts work orders based on demand. 44% companies raw materials are pulled into the shop floor via an unstructured request system. Anyway, so moving on, in terms of the characteristics, what we found was firms that are large, firms with foreign equity, firms that are operating inside ecozones, and firms that are exporting have the highest technology utilization scores. And as expected, micro and small enterprises have the lowest technology utilization scores. And in terms of geographic distribution, the highest technology utilization is still in urban areas, such as the National Capital Region, Central Luzon, and Calabarzon, which actually these are the regions, these are the areas where economic concentration or economic activities take place, and they comprise over 50% of our gross domestic product. And across the different manufacturing sectors, the highest technology utilization is in other non-metallic products, paper, computer, electronic and optical products, motor vehicles, and pharmaceutical products. The lowest technology utilization is in textile, leather, beverages, wearing in garments, repair and installation of machinery and equipment, as well as in food products. And high technology utilization is in areas of cybersecurity, quality, and manufacturing activity management. The lowest scores are in equipment maintenance and equipment connectivity, as well as in data management. So the results showed that the bulk of our enterprises are aware of Industry 4.0. And I think that's good news. But as to their primary considerations for Industry 4.0 transformation, of course, the most important reasons that were cited are the improvement in technology and competitiveness, along with innovation and technological advancement. But of course, they are also concerned about the cost of investment and funding. In terms of the barriers that firms perceive, this would include the lack of financial capability, unfamiliar, and some are not really considering moving into these new technologies. Market conditions, the lack of skills, knowledge, and expertise, along with poor digital infrastructure were cited as constraints with respect to the transition towards Industry 4.0. And the survey also indicated that 45% of the surveyed companies plan to upgrade by investing in machinery, employee training, software, and infrastructure in the next 5 years. And I also think this is also one bright spot that we can see. And just to give you an example, okay, so I know that Earl is here, but in any case, I'll just mention it, and Earl could discuss this in more detail once he presents. So Ionix actually invested in a smart factory, and based on my conversation with Earl, he mentioned that while the COVID crisis has affected them significantly, had it not been for their smart factory, the impact of the pandemic on their business would have been far much worse. So let me give another example in the banking industry. This is Union Bank, which, as we know, has been a trailblazer in digital banking, delivering innovation and digital initiatives to promote financial inclusion. They are the first 5G powered bank in the country. And Union Bank's I2I platform, this is their island to island, institution to institution, individual to individual, is an open finance platform based on blockchain, on distributed ledger technology that links financial institutions to each other, to fintechs and digital platforms, and to the country's mainstream financial network. So through I2I, UBX is the tech company of Union Bank. So UBX is able to bring digital financial services to unbanked and underbanked individuals in financially underserved communities. I2I connects financial institutions and community-based financial services nationwide, including remittance centers like Cebuana Luwilier, LBC, Palawan Express, and PeraHub. And during the pandemic, their usage volumes rose by over 3,000% in the last 6 months of 2020. I2I's network also helped expedite the SWD's disbursement. So they were also able to help government, particularly in expediting the SWD's disbursement of the social amelioration program to beneficiaries. Union Bank has changed the culture in banking. Its digital branch, which is called the ARC, has no bank tellers, so there are no long lines. It's completely paperless banking transactions, and has actually driven an agile, innovative, and empowered workforce mindset that translated into customer success. And note that Union Bank hasn't removed branches. The tellers have not been replaced, but they were reskilled to become marketing ambassadors. At the same time, they hired new people with various backgrounds, specifically in telco, tech companies, and data analytics, and using cloud-enabled video analytics to conduct sentiment analysis inside the ARC, allowing the bank to get valuable customer insights and enhance its services. So they're now moving to ARC 2.0, using Internet of Things enabled services and leveraging on 5G. they would like to support the development of more smart communities in the country. So we view these new technologies as drivers to achieve an inclusive, resilient, and sustainable industrial development. Through the use of AI, for example, we can create new products and services leading to jobs and income opportunities, as well as new activities. And this has been illustrated by the case of Union Bank. And I'm sure even in the case, this is also true in the case of in the case of Earl's company. By adopting smart manufacturing, we can improve productivity. New technologies can reduce our material and energy use. It is also important to note that the benefits from these new technologies are transformative, but would require razor-sharp focus, hence the need to focus on specific high-impact use cases, cases that would solve business problems and deliver economic value in the near term. Our industrial strategy is given by I3S, or Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy, the aim of which is to grow globally competitive and innovative industries. Innovation is at the front and center of this new industrial policy. And as you can see on the slide, we have 6 major pillars. Number 1 is embracing Industry 4.0, along with developing startups and micro, small, and medium enterprises, integrating our production system, especially our global value chain participation, strengthening our innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem, upskilling and reskilling our workforce, and improving ease of doing business. Using technologies like voice recognition, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, robotics, 5G connectivity, and Internet of Things, we can create new products or solutions in the following areas: smart buildings and smart home technology, including smart manufacturing, precision agriculture, digital health, which we're already seeing now through telemedicine, e-gaming, smart assistants, vehicle technology, resilient technology, along with audio, video, and edtech. Like what I've said, edtech, based on many studies that I've seen, this is really going to be one important area, and many countries are preparing for it, particularly with respect to the future and the occurrence of pandemics and other crises. DTI initiatives are geared towards helping our companies shift to Industry 4.0. And we view digital transformation as a journey towards embracing a culture of innovation in all facets of production. And this would cover people, technology, and the organization. We have been carrying out an awareness building program through Industry 4.0 workshops. We also help formulate sector-level Industry 4.0 roadmaps to guide us in crafting policies and programs. And currently, we are drafting the studies needed for the electric vehicle industry, as well as the creative industries. We also plan to build an Industry 4.0 pilot factory and an SME Academy, Industry 4.0 Academy, to provide Industry 4.0 trainings to MSMEs. At the same time, we also encourage companies to embark on their own industrial transformation, first by going through the SIRI assessment, or the Smart Industry Readiness Index. This is the gold standard in Industry 4.0 assessment. We are partnering with the World Economic Forum, with the Asian Development Bank, and tech companies like Siemens in assessing the technology readiness of companies using SIRI. DTI is also working with TESDA, CHED, and DepEd, as well as with our industry and the academe, including TechVoc institutions, in formulating our skills development framework to prepare our workforce for the jobs of the future and ensure that the skills demanded by companies would be sufficiently provided. And then there's also the create, or the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Act, which is providing support measures for innovative projects like income tax holidays and duty-free importation of equipment that companies could access as they implement their Industry 4.0 transformation plans. Our most recent initiative is the Artificial Intelligence Roadmap, which focuses on uplifting the lives of our people, industries, and the economy. By adopting artificial intelligence, we can tap vast opportunities to help us maintain the regional and global competitiveness of industries, prepare the future workforce for the jobs of the future, and attract large companies to set up their R&D in the country. And to accelerate innovation and MSME digitalization, one of the major recommendations of the roadmap is the building of a national center for AI research. The AI Center is going to be a public-private partnership and would serve as hub for data scientists and researchers to perform collaborative AI R&D, consultancy services, create AI tech products, conduct data literacy programs, and attract leading global companies to set up R&D in the Philippines. Our areas of focus include precision farming to improve the productivity of the agriculture sector and increase the incomes of farmers, along with smart manufacturing, healthcare services, AI-powered business process outsourcing, creation of smart cities, and the adoption of resilient technology. So to close, I would like to highlight some of the key learnings that we can draw from our recent experience. Number one, COVID has accelerated the use of digital technologies. And as we have seen, digital technologies and innovation have played a crucial role in ensuring quick responses to the crisis, along with business continuity, recovery, and protecting our workers. Number two, as the race for survival intensifies, more innovation would emerge, and the less innovative firms would fall behind. Number three, it's not only the innovative firms that survived, but the more resilient firms thrived during the crisis. And now resilience to external shocks is being seen as a competitive advantage. Companies that invested in digital technologies way before others feel that their supply chains are well capable to deal with COVID-19 and are able to adapt far more quickly. With the pandemic, let me again go back to my example of Union Bank. Digital banking has grown by 500%. And Union Bank indicated that their new accounts totaled 110,000 last month in August. And prior to the pandemic, their new accounts were only by the hundreds monthly. So as we enter the new normal, there are three key imperatives that I would like to emphasize. First, we need to tailor production and supply systems to changing consumer behavior. We need to increase agility in production and supply systems enabled by advanced technology and automated processes. We also need to adopt new ways of working to increase resilience and pursue shared responsibility and collaboration between industry, academe, and government to address social and environmental challenges. Our group, the Competitiveness and Innovation Group of the DTI, will continue to engage in public discussions on Industry 4.0 technologies to ensure that the benefits are understood by as many people as possible. New technologies like AI are not here to destroy jobs or replace humans, but to create new jobs and change what work looks like, augment human intelligence and skills, and make our workplaces safer. We keep the people at the center of all our Industry 4.0 transformation plans, with a focus on inclusive growth and enabling people at every level of society to take part in building an innovative and creative future. As the CEO of Union Bank, Mr. Edwin Bautista shared with us, the people represent the secret sauce behind their success in digital banking. It is not the technology itself that made it happen, but it is the people who create the new products, who identify what customers are looking for, and offer new solutions or processes to address the pain points and provide superior customer experience. Technology is based on their experience. The success is only 10% technology and 90% human, he said. Technology makes life easier, but it cannot inspire human and emotional connection. Along the same vein, and as shown by numerous studies and experiences, companies do well when they keep their workers at the center of their digital transformation. Agile ways of working reach their full potential if we have a skilled Industry 4.0 ready workforce. With Industry 4.0, industries can be made more efficient and scalable, leapfrog to inclusive, resilient, and sustainable industrial development. And of course, this is a call for all of us to continue to work together as we embark on our digital transformation journey, ensuring shared prosperity for all and that no one is left behind. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fita Aldaba, for that very comprehensive presentation on the topic Industry 4.0 Threats or Opportunities. That was a macro presentation. Now we understand what are the directions our government is taking, the plans, programs that it is trying to implement to help not only government but the private sector in coping with the trend that we have now in improving productivity in practically all aspects of human endeavor. Later we will have the Q&A. We will ask questions to Dr. Aldaba, but we will now have a micro presentation of the topic, meaning how the ideas on Industry 4.0 are being carried out in a particular firm or establishment. And Greg will introduce our speaker to tackle the micro part of the presentation of the topic. Greg?
Thank you very much, Senator. Our next resource person, Mr. Earl Lawrence Kwa, is the co-founder and Chief Operating Officer of VOXP Technologies Incorporated, which is a software development company. He engages there in corporate strategy, business development, and product conceptualization, among others. His clients include the Department of Information and Communications Technology, the Department of Education, PLDT, local government units, as well as the Philippine Red Cross. He is also a member of the Board of Directors of Domingo AI Research Center Laboratory, which is a nonprofit organization focused on creating artificial intelligence-driven solutions that advance Philippine universal healthcare, with projects including COVID-19 related projects for rapid screening, as well as mass testing tracker applications. They're also involved for artificial intelligence for liver cancer detection, that's early diagnosis, as well as for another project called AI, as in EYE, with the human eye as the premier window to a patient's general health. That's funded by the Asian Development Bank. He is also, Mr. Kwa, the president of Ionix EMS Incorporated, as mentioned by Yusek Aldaba. Ionix is a publicly listed electronics manufacturing service company based in California and the Philippines. He serves there as well as Product Solutions Head. So the name, the word solutions is associated with our next speaker. By education, Earl Lawrence Kwa is a graduate of the Harvard Business School of the Owners and Presidents Management Program in 2015. He's also an MBA graduate of Babson College in 2010. And for his undergraduate, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, the class of 2002, from the Occidental College in Los Angeles, California. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Solutions, Earl Lawrence Kwa.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Secretary General Greg Atienza. Thank you also, Chairman Joey Lina and Mr. Poblador for organizing and inviting me to this discussion. Greetings also to my dear friend and occasional travel buddy in trade missions, Yusek Fita Aldaba. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I was invited to speak about Industry 4.0 and the threats and opportunities it brings us. I will be speaking from a private industry point of view, particularly the electronics technology point of view. Industry 4.0 is what people call the fourth industrial revolution. The first being the steam power in the 1800s. The second was when electricity came to play in the 1900s. The third in the 1990s with the rise of computers. And now the fourth, which is the age of the internet, cloud computing, and the early stages of machine learning. The Industry 4.0 journey builds upon platforms over platforms. In the first stage, you see visualizations of data in silos. Then data from these silos can be aggregated into a more integrated system where you form a data lake, a digital twin of the physical world, so to speak. When all these data is in one place, things start to change. In the virtual world, time and place can be tweaked. Location is no longer as significant. The future can be simulated and predicted. These simulations over time can be compared to actual outcomes, which will constantly improve the intelligence of the system, which theoretically eventually will surpass human capability and achieve autonomous thinking. That has yet to be seen. The Ionic Smart Factory is an example of a company on this journey. The Ionic Smart Factory was an initiative that started in Massachusetts while I was doing an executive program. From there, we reached out and had multiple collaboration and partnerships with world-class enterprises like IBM, Apple, Foxconn, and Panasonic. From there, the Smart Factory project took a life of its own. We currently have multiple modules, which include manufacturing operations module, supply chain module, HR module, to name a few. Here is a walkthrough of what it's like today. So this is a
view of the operational side of the Smart Factory, where you can see multiple lines. And so here's another view of it. On the floor, so you can see all of the different lines, the status, whether it's downtime or if they're running with errors. Even on the machine level, per line, you can see whether they're running with errors and get the general idea of what's going on in the facility. And you can go inside, dig deeper onto the actual lines. And so this is the first factory. You see the customer, you see the efficiency, the output, the quality rate, and other information. So, for example, in factory number 2, the Toshiba line, you can see the different configurations of the line. Again, you can see whether it's running or not, what the efficiency rate is, what the actual output is, what the projected output should be, and the quality rate based on targets. And so here you could also see the different and so here you have information on errors. You could see that hit the break time here. That's why the volume went down at this point. And so there's a lot of detailed information that you can find. Likewise, if you click on the machines, you could also see the machine level details. So the history of this machine, the different errors, what was done in the past, the capacity matrix, how many units per hours, the models that it run, and other things. So these are all kept and stored and analyzed for the future. You can see the manual and the schedule of the machine. Below, you could see the different products that it has run, and here you can see in a retrospective way on which day it run a particular model and how much of it. And here we also figure out what issues there are that we came across while running the machine. Here is another way of looking at a more detailed view of the historical run of the machine. So you have the date, the product that it produced, its output, the efficiency, the quality, availability, and the OEE, and also the downtime history on why the line went down. And so we could see the detail, what has happened with the machine.
So in the 3 years since the Smart Factory went live, where we incorporated IoT with machine automation and business intelligence, we were able to reduce the direct labor of the SMT, specifically the surface mount technology production line, by 90%. A lot of cost improvements and making operations a lot more engineering centric. We also improved our quality and yield by 3% and reduced unplanned machine downtime from a 22% average to 2%. Apart from that, management and customers can now benefit from real-time access to information from anywhere. So the Smart Factory enabled us to significantly improve cost, quality, and customer experience simultaneously, while enabling a technology roadmap to AI implementation. The difference it made during the time of COVID-19 spelled the difference between barely surviving and thriving. In the first COVID lockdown, the workforce went from approximately 3,000 factory workers to 150. Management would have been completely blind without the Smart Factory. As for the customers, they can now remotely audit the production lines. By allowing us to fly by wire, this solution not only keeps the company running during COVID, it also keeps our workers safe. It was a great initiative. But let's not rest on our laurels. This is where the Smart Factory is in the grand scheme of things. As we shift here, things get shaken up a bit. This is a global shift, and things happening outside of the Philippines will have dramatic impact in our local industry. As the degree of freedom of automation increases, the reliance on labor decreases. A threshold will be reached to a point where labor will no longer be as needed. This is called lights out manufacturing. We are not operating in a vacuum. This is going to be a worldwide transition. As this occurs, we are going to see manufacturing shift back to the first world and/or to regions that are closer to the points of consumption, where logistical cost and energy cost will be cheaper. This is already happening, and we will probably see a disruption of this within 5 to 10 years when automation becomes much, much more affordable, smarter, and have more flexibility and dexterity. Decision factors apart from labor costs, such as original design product offering, proprietary or unique manufacturing techniques, cost of electricity, cost of money, back-end and front-end supply chains. For the Philippines to still be competitive, we need to boost those other factors. Getting into designing products and getting into the innovation space where we own our own IP and we can generate our own products and solutions become crucial. Otherwise, if we are playing on the labor arbitrage game, It is not a sustainable model. But there is opportunity in this disruption. New opportunities arise during a paradigm shift, as it is an entry point for new players due to new technological capabilities. Older and bigger companies are slower to adjust, causing them to fall, and thus give way to smaller, more agile companies to grow and scale. The true challenge is the ability to develop new core businesses. If we implement correctly, interacting with the platform will be extremely simple and intuitive, with all information in a single source, and therefore in your fingertips at any given time. The key really is what you will do with that information. More importantly, what does having that information allow you to do? How do you use that to change? This would bring about the necessity to make existential decisions on strategy. How would you start breaking down your business processes, and how would you build it back up with this new capability? To put it bluntly, the shift towards Industry 4.0 isn't about getting new toys. Real change and disruption comes when you are innovating your business model, because that's when you actually change how you do things and how you create new value. From a manufacturing point of view, through having a simple repository of ubiquitous information, you get a very clear view of the past, and using that information with AI and machine learning, you are able to get a more and more accurate view of the future. Because of the internet, space and location are no longer as relevant. How will the world start reorganizing itself and split up work across the regions? This is the challenge that Ionix and other manufacturing companies in the Philippines will have to face. Having said that, manufacturing is a good base, a good starting point. But this Industry 4.0 shift requires a design and product development mindset. It is the same methodology and mindset as product development for any other product. Key to this is education, which will require the upskilling of our workforce. This is also one of the ways to secure our place as a credible manufacturing region. The current state of Philippine semiconductor and electronics is that high-value activities are done outside. Only the assembly and test activities are predominantly done in the country, which are also the activities that are the easiest to automate. So here you see that the components are designed outside, and the lower value tasks like assembly and test are done in the Philippines. The electronics that built using those components are designed abroad. After the product has been designed, it's then outsourced to the Philippines, where it is exported. Ironically, many situations we have to re-import the goods if we want to purchase and use those products. We hope to gain more traction in designing, which are the higher value activities, which will also allow our workforce to gain experience in the innovation space and in creating IP. The more experience our engineers get, the more familiar and updated they are with the tools and components available, and the more confidence we have to opening our minds to design thinking. In the age of the Internet of Things and AI, there is no longer just hardware or software products. There is a convergence of skills that needs to be developed. Many of today's hardware are software defined. Pretty soon, with many semiconductor companies moving towards edge AI computing, we will require a baseline understanding of data science or its application tools as well. With this understanding of design, especially on the solutions architect level, we will have the capability to solve our most persistent and endemic problems. One of the biggest issues is that the current product offerings in the market today are designed abroad with a use case intended for other markets. Our local market is basically an afterthought and not necessarily the intended market for deployment of technology products today. So there are gaps in the deployment, leaving many of us in the dark. The mindset involved in the upgrading to Industry 4.0 can be applied in IP development. I have a few examples of homegrown solutions. First, a solution that addresses our internet connectivity issue, and a few using local data scientists to address the gaps in our medical coverage. Internet connectivity and education are key pain points. We can use our unique pain points and utilize our design capability to help address the issue. This is a situation of internet access for a significant number of Filipinos today.
Magandang hapon.
Ayan o. Anong ginagawa niyo dyan?
Napapasa po kami ng module.
Ayan. Sir. Kaya, di ba nakakaawa yung mga bata? Yan dapat ay nasa mga bahay nila.
So, kamusta naman yung ano nyo? So,
Ayun, medyo mabagal kasi
so ito lang,
connect lang kami sa connecting. Yung iba nagko-connect hotspot.
O, dandahan ka dyan. Ano, ha?
so, ito yung ano, dito lang yung spot na maganda yung signal po.
Oh, dito po may signal. Sa ibang lugar po kasi bundok matataas kaya hindi po namin mapuntahan.
So, saan po kayo ano? Saan po kayo tawag dito? Dito kayo nag-aaral din po.
Hindi po. Kakalipat lang po namin dito. Bali po hindi pa po kami nakakapag-transfer po dito ng pag-aaral.
Saan kayo nag...
Still online class po rin po kami nag-aaral po. Hindi po kami nakamodule.
Oo. Naku, dandahan, ano.
Opo. Sanay naman na po kami.
O siya, di bale, parating na yung tulong. Lalagay po kami ng free wifi dito.
Wow.
So there are tangible reasons for this digital divide. A lot of our communities are considered low ARPU or revenue per user due to poverty. Connectivity infrastructure equipment are designed with the economics of the first world economy in mind. Therefore, CapEx and OpEx are expensive. Telcos will do the math and make a business decision that there's no ROI to serve those communities, and hence, no coverage. So this is how big the gap is. It takes about 15 million pesos to set up a cell tower. The ideal capacity is to have one cell site for every 200 households. The way we stand today, it is at one cell site for every 4,000 households. We have a homegrown full stack approach that provides low CapEx and low OpEx network. It is a fully integrated software hardware solution, which enables public schools to become internet providers that serve their local barangay residents in their homes. It includes a patented solution which sachets the internet, meaning super low cost access. For example, 5 pesos for access just to Viber for 24 hours a day, 10 pesos for access just to YouTube for 24 hours. The same technology can allow DepEd to offer public school students contents and access to online classes directly to their respective homes. And DepEd can then pay specifically for just the student or teacher's access to school materials and online classes. It is easy to use. The installation is as simple as installing your Mahiwagang black box or over-the-air TV in the home. In fact, it uses the same antenna. It is with patented traffic shaping and hardware technology, we can use less than 90 Mbps backhaul pipe and redistribute it across over 200 households per base station, while providing high-quality user experience at very low cost. This is the deployment that we did in a public school in Rizal Province. Here's a video of a public school teacher using a UHF device in her home, which was over 1.5 kilometers from the host public school.
Try tayo saan? Kung makapag-YouTube tayo. Tama ba? My favorite, Lola Damiana. Meron kayo, oh.
Ma, malakang dunya. Dunya? Bakit ako naging dunya ngayon? Maganda po buwan ninyo. Magandang buwan. Maganda nga.
Ano masasabi niyo, ma'am?
Okay. Very good. Talaga po ba? Is this real?
The solution utilizes TV white space UHF frequencies. These frequencies are one of the most underutilized resource we have in the country. DOST ASTI did a study on TV white space frequency utilization and found that frequencies are only 21% utilized in urban settings. Rural settings are even less utilized. We hope to use these frequencies to provide connectivity to the internet, especially to those most in need of it. Another solution that is locally developed is the AI solution. A and the I as the organ. It is a device that by non-invasively taking a picture of the retina can screen for various diseases like diabetes, hypertension, melanoma, macular degeneration. So this can be deployed to the edges of society outside the reach of doctors. Any school teacher or nurse can use this device and provide screening. Of course, more training of the AI is needed to improve accuracy and increase the number of diseases. Here is a video of what it does. Fester is another project that utilizes AI to screen for diseases, this time using radiographic images to screen for multiple kinds of pneumonia. It can decipher between COVID-based pneumonia, viral-based pneumonia, bacterial-based pneumonia, and of course, a healthy sample. This is yet another locally developed solution that can help the most underserved and unserved population who need medical coverage the most. So there are definitely local players who are capable of conceptualizing and executing solutions that can solve some of our biggest problems. There are also local resources which DOST is providing that could act as a catalyst for innovation. The Electronics Product Development Center, or EPDC, is a place where anyone can go to design, prototype, and test their electronic products. In fact, a lot of universities are utilizing this for their thesis project, and a lot of small and large companies and even multinationals come to get their products tested. The test results, by the way, are recognized by FSC in the US. This is a center where you can go to if you have a product concept, but no engineering background. The center is run by the electronics design community and have resources to scale and skills to design products and prototype them. Just to summarize, Industry 4.0 would be a catalyst for supply chain reorganization. Manufacturing might move closer to points of consumption, probably in the first world. Implementing Industry 4.0 and competing in this epoch will require a design and creation mindset. True innovation in manufacturing and supply chain comes from innovation of business models, not just of technology. The Philippine endemic problems are opportunities for innovation. Philippines already have companies that can execute, need support in commercializing. Growing the IP economy will drive local manufacturing as well. Creativity and innovation is the ultimate renewable resource. One of the questions asked when I was invited to speak were suggestions on policy. I think one of the most important is the support on funding and incentives for Philippine designed products. We have to emphasize support for commercial deployment as Philippine tech might be a new concept to many. The workforce will need to be upskilled. Based on our data, we need a more holistic and experiential-based training program. Tech vocational programs should be explored and developed. And finally, continued support and expansion for centers like EPDC to bring innovation thinking closer to the population. My final thought is Foxconn, the largest manufacturer in the world. It is larger than the second and 20th largest, second and 20th largest manufacturers combined. Jabil is top 10. These are the gold standards of the industry, the best in the world. Roku is a company focused on developing their IP platform to serve its customers. Arista is an AI-defined hardware solution provider in the internet security industry today. if you look at the numbers, R&D based companies are much more bang for your buck. And society, by proxy of the financial markets, seem to agree. If you look at the PE ratios, we need to focus on value creation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Earl, for that eye-opening presentation. Senator?
Now we will go into the Q&A portion of this webinar. Let me start shooting the first question. Dr. Fita, very comprehensive yung iyong presentation na ginawa. In the Global Competitiveness report of the World Economic Forum 2019, we were ranked 64 out of 100, more than 100 countries. But your presentation is really impressive, and that's the direction the government is taking. What do we need to do to improve that ranking, especially as far as productivity is concerned? How do we fast track or speed up the adoption of more Industry 4.0 programs, so that business efficiency or productivity is enhanced in the soonest possible time? Earl already mentioned some basic, like internet or connectivity, education. You also mentioned all of those requirements. Is government ready to tackle all of these prerequisite to be a country that can be ranked higher and therefore more competitive?
Thank you, Senator, for those questions. I think those are really indeed very relevant. There is another ranking that we also keep track, and this is the global, in terms of innovation, this is the Global Innovation Index from the World Economic Forum. And in that index, there's been a huge jump actually in terms of our ranking. In 2014, we were ranked 100, and in the most recent report, our improvement jumped and improved 50 notches higher. So we're now ranked number 50. We're just waiting for the next report, which is due to come out anytime soon, and hopefully we'll be able to maintain that position. A lot of investments would still be needed, particularly in terms of improving our educational system, creating a creative mindset, building a culture of innovation. It has to start from the primary years, primary, secondary to tertiary, including our tech voc education. I think I also mentioned that earlier. Part of all these things that we are doing, we call it, it's not a one-time or a one-year activity, this adoption of new technologies and Industry 4.0, but it's really a journey. It entails this statements from Mr. Edwin Bautista from UBX, from keep ringing in my head, and that's when he said it's really just 10% technology and it's really 90% people, and hence the focus of the government in terms of the digital transformation plans is really making the people at the center of all this Industry 4.0, this digital transformation plan. And as we have seen from the experiences of many companies, not only in the Philippines, but as well as abroad, that's the same thing that they're also saying. We need to keep the workers at the center of all this transformation, because at the end of the day, it's the people, it's the workers who will carry out these plans. And if we're not able to prepare them, if we're not able to provide the reskilling and the upskilling that would be necessary, and if we don't have the right skills, then it's also not going to be possible for us to adopt these new technologies successfully. And innovation is really very important, because by adopting these new technologies, it's not only to improve our competitiveness, it's not only to bring down costs and hence upgrade the competitiveness of industries and the country as a whole, but at the same time, innovation could really emerge from the adoption of these new technologies. We could create new products, new processes, we could adopt new or create new business models, and thereby making our industries more competitive. We would be able to create new and better jobs. And ultimately, I think innovation is really very important. Innovation, competitiveness, the adoption of these new technologies in terms of addressing or providing solution to the poverty problem here in the country. And that's why I also emphasized that right now, the regions or the areas where these companies are located, so geographically, they're really in the urban areas, and hence it's really important to address this digital divide. If it's only companies that are located in highly urbanized areas who would have the access to these new technologies and to the infrastructure, then the adoption of these new technologies could further widen the current digital divide that we have. It could worsen the inequality, and it won't address the poverty that we would like to address. And hence, it's really a collaboration among the different government agencies, DTI, the DICT for the physical infrastructure, the OSD, of course, for providing the support, R&D support, not only to the academe. And we're working together with them, of course, in terms of linking together our industries with the academe, knowing fully well as well that we have capable researchers who would provide the necessary R&D support for our companies. And at the same time, of course, support for startups. Hence, there are so many things that a lot of room for improvement, a lot of work that must be carried out in order for us to realize our goals. We have a roadmap, but again, this roadmap only provides the general direction. And at the same time, this roadmap is evolving because there's so many moving parts. There's so many things that keep changing, and hence we need to keep on fine-tuning and adjusting our policies and programs given all these developments that are currently taking place. So a lot of collaboration, and as well as skills development, upskilling, reskilling, focus on innovation, and at the same time, of course, the very fundamental problems that we are still addressing, the ease of doing business, ensuring that government as well is going to adopt all these new technologies so as to be able to promote and improve our regulatory environment, automate our systems, and provide the necessary enabling environment for all of these plans to succeed.
There are many who want to ask questions, Dr. Vita. I myself I have a long list of of questions. Just to summarize, in a scale of 1 to 10, how would you place the Philippines? Are all the departments of government on the same page? Is everybody gung ho on these needed innovations? Secretary, there is a bit of impatience in the question that I'm asking. Is agriculture ready? Do they have specific plans and programs? The manufacturing, or of course, that is under DTI. Government as a whole, you know, it takes a long time before you can even get your passport or get your passport renewed. Of course, NBI, others have introduced innovations in how to deliver needed documents. But there are many agencies in government that are still so backward that it takes a long time before you can. Now, Securities and Exchange Commission, before you can get an application for registration approved, it takes months before you can have a company registered, no? But DTI, it's faster for a single proprietorship. These are basic. These are basic. So there's an impatience. You know, we can talk about the plans on how to retool, upskill the labor, the farmers who will lose their job if you introduce automation or mechanization in agriculture. Again, the broad question is every department or the entire government machinery already has a concrete plan of action with timeline and the needed funding support. And then I will stop. I will stop my questioning. Otherwise, I can go on and on. 10 more questions.
Senator, for all the sectors or for all the agencies, relevant agencies that we need to work together with in terms of all the pillars, the important pillars that I've mentioned earlier, we are working together with them. We already signed the MOUs. And to some extent, I would say that the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Trade and Industry, the Department of Science and Technology, including the NEDA, including TESDA, but like what I've said, there's still a lot of room for us to improve the current work that we are doing. But in terms of collaboration and cooperation, in terms of the direction that we want to take, in terms of embracing this fourth industrial revolution technologies with the goal of improving the competitiveness and productivity of our industries and the country, and in order for us to be able to achieve an industrial transformation, we all agree that this is the path to go, and hence we are already working together with them in terms of several projects, in terms of linking all our different activities such that we won't be duplicating, but what we want really is for us to complement the necessary activities that each one of the agencies would be doing, so as to be able to spend the limited resources that we have in a more efficient way and be able to achieve our goals based on the timeline. But like what I've said, there are so many moving parts. We didn't expect this pandemic to happen and the accompanying recession. But though we were experiencing this pandemic, we were having this economic recession, we continue with all the activities that we've identified prior to the pandemic. In our case, we've continued working on the skills development framework together with TESDA, together with DOLE and the other government agencies. We are working together and benchmarking with Singapore. In fact, Skills Future Singapore is providing a lot of support in terms of helping us identify the skills that would be needed in the future, as well as in crafting the various skills, the competencies to guide in crafting the training programs that TESDA would be implementing in the near future and prepare our workforce for Industry 4.0. We are also working together with the World Economic Forum and the Asian Development Bank, together with Siemens, in assessing the Industry 4.0 readiness of manufacturing industries. We've completed so far 2 companies already, one from the chemical industry, another from the electronics, and currently 5 are still undergoing this SIRI assessment, the Smart Industry Readiness Index. This is important before you could really plan, because this is going to provide you with a plan that is necessary to help in your Industry 4.0 journey. And hence, this is really the first step that we are carrying out. And at the same time, I think I also mentioned the support that the CREATE Act is going to provide to industries that are moving towards this innovative processes, companies that would be going through digital transformation, or companies that would be introducing new products or new services. All these activities and projects are eligible for incentives to be provided under the CREATE. So I would say that yes, in general, the major agencies involved or relevant in order for us to implement the plans are all in agreement, and each of us would have our own programs in order to ensure that we would be able to achieve our goals and our targets in the very near future. It's difficult, Senator, but we're really trying our best to be able to deliver. Like in the case of BPI, we have very limited resources, but I mentioned earlier the building or the establishment of an Industry 4.0 pilot factory, which would also double as an Industry 4.0 SME Academy that would serve our MSMEs. And right now, we are about to award a contract to Siemens, who would carry out the feasibility study for this, because we cannot just, while of course it looks really very attractive proposition, but at the same time, we need to ensure that we're doing the right thing and that we have all the necessary plans before we directly engage or directly build something. So we hope that by next year we would be able to build this particular project, and it's going to serve as shared services facilities available to all our MSMEs.
Thank you very much for that answer, Dr. Fita. As I said, I have to restrain myself from continuing asking questions. I know, Dr. Fita, that's why we invited you. Kami believe sa iyo. Personally, you're the one who is the bright light there in government pushing Industry 4.0. You know, from A to Z, but the government machinery, including Congress, may not be on the same page. I just leave this one question, no? And then, of course, I will ask Joel and June and Nonoy, Yulo, to ask questions, and then we will get the questions also from the chat box. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. How much is the budget for all of these efforts? Do we have enough money? But you answered that. I'm sure that will also be traversed in some of the questions that will be asked. But bear that in mind. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. How much resource are we making? Later, you can ask that. Yeah. You can answer that question. Joel, you can shoot your question. You have to unmute.
Okay. Okay. Yes, finally. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to Yusek Fita. No? My question is really about being ahead of the curve. I don't think we really need to push the private sector, because in the case of Earl here, he has already been our proof of the pudding that the private sector, even without the government, can really fend for itself, no? Okay, you throw a little bit of incentives here and there that will really make them grow. But I guess the burden of proof is really with government. Are they on the curve or ahead of the curve? And to make your life easier, Yusek Fita, perhaps three areas that you might want to leave as a legacy, no? Kasi with all the lofty objectives of 4.0, we might just get lost in the forest. But three areas that is really staring us in the face, which I may call the elephants in the room, are the following. Number one, perhaps we can introduce something internet-based to improve the efficiency of our electoral system, something similar to blockchain, internet-based, or its equivalent, just so that we're not left held hostage by the traditional Smartmatic or even hybrid type of election system. No, it may not be done within the May 22 elections, but at least we can assure the next generation of something more 4.0 flavored type of election. No, and then secondly, again, this thing about nabanggit ni Mr. Kua, which I'm giving him all the highest kudos, but the area of actually satisfying the financial requirements of hospitals by way of PhilHealth's disbursement of its funds, it's still Jurassic. Secretary Dominguez already played that up, that for the longest time they have stayed behind the curve as far as digitalizing the systems and procedures of disbursing money contributed by all of us, no, to the appropriate hospitals, and that's causing us a lot of derailing a health or even potentially collapsing a health system, no. And then lastly, this brouhaha about alleged corruption in the purchase of masks, no, which would have been corrected had the DBM again introduced a very IT-based type of disbursement, which is very much available in the market. No, I'm sure the likes of Earl here, together with his colleagues in the industry, can introduce something that can cure that problem. I'm not saying that this is all on your shoulders, but if you can open the door, because you're the USEC accountable for introducing 4.0 industrialization, perhaps you can introduce and open the door together with the private sector to, let's say, COMELEC, together with DICT, DBM, and PhilHealth. No? I'll leave that on the table, and I'd like a reaction from you and perhaps from Earl here, who may have some bright ideas on how to exactly address this set of issues. No? Thank you.
Okay. Yusek and then Earl.
Yeah, thank you for raising those three important points. And of course, I fully agree with you with respect to the need for government services to be delivered digitally, whether it be in terms of the election, but most specifically in the health sector, which I think I also mentioned that in the presentation, as well as in the procurement. Although, of course, a visionary leadership would be needed, even if I am able to convince my counterparts, the other secretaries, we would still need the go signal of the secretary. In the case of DTI, in the case of DOST, in the case of DA, the case of NEDA, all the secretaries are aligned in terms of this vision, and hence I would say that it has been a little bit easier. So like what you've also mentioned earlier, Senator, about business name registration, this is already digital. It's online from the time you would register up to the payment. Everything is online and digital. It would only take you a few minutes. as compared to a few days before. And we're hoping that all the other government agencies would start to realize the need to digitalize their processes, because this is really going to provide a more efficient and less costly transactions, and provide really a better customer experience to our stakeholders. And so I'm really hoping that we would be able to do that in the near future. And with respect to Congress, I would like to mention that we have senators and congressmen who are supportive of these programs that we're carrying out. In terms of the budget, last year we were given over 100 million to start this innovation and Industry 4.0 projects. But because of the pandemic, we had to surrender that amount. But nonetheless, we continued the work. And for this year, we got, I think, around 80 million. And hence, we're able to continue all those projects that I mentioned in the presentation.
Earl, you want to chime in?
Well, I can't say I know the mechanizations of government, and which is why I'm in the private sector. But from what I understand in terms of technology implementation, especially in Industry 4.0, it's basically platform on top of platform. So you have to start with the most basic network, which is the internet. Right, we have to start with a basic internet connectivity. You implement that in through K through 12 and higher education, and then you can build on top of that services. And so, in fact, I've had this conversation with the likes of Mr. Bert Lina with eBarangay. He has automated barangay services online, but he can't get it out without proper internet connectivity. And so you really have to start from the very, very basic level, which is get that internet connectivity nationwide done, and then you build the services on top of that.
But Senator, may
Yes,
I
go ahead.
add? But at the same time, I think the platform that has a lot of potential as well, when I mentioned collaboration, probably government can also do it together with the private sector, like in the case of the DSWD with the social distancing. And then we're seeing that there was no more social distancing when they start getting their ayuda. But through the intervention, through the collaboration with Union Bank, they were able to issue this online and using the digital platform of UBX, which is the I2I. And hopefully also other government agencies would accelerate their transformation, given everything that we've seen during this pandemic. And I think this has really accelerated moves in terms of the shift towards these new technologies. And let me also point out another issue. While of course all these new technologies, artificial intelligence, for instance, they could bring a lot of good things. They have a lot of benefits in terms of improving the efficiency of our systems, in terms of bringing down the costs and facilitating things, delivering things at a much faster rate. But remember that they could also be used in a bad way. Like for instance, in an election, you can use AI to
manipulate.
Yes, if I to rig or to tweak and come out with biased results, favor one person over another. You can do that. You can program that through AI. And I mentioned earlier about our plan to build a national center for AI research, as well as the launching of the AI roadmap. And one very important task that we're doing is right now we're forming an AI task force, a council. It's a multi-stakeholder group to help us in terms of crafting some sort of an ethics committee, ensuring that we will be using AI, coming up with regulations so as to ensure that the use of these new technologies would really benefit the people, and at the same time it would not result to widen inequality and digital divide in the country.
You mentioned about 100 million peso. The intelligence fund of the entire government machinery is into tens and billions of pesos. Then don't you think there is a big disconnect there? We need Industry 4.0 to improve our productivity and efficiency, increase our output, and at the same time lower prices of commodities. And here you are, you're only talking of 100 million pesos, which was not even used last year. And this year you have 80 million. That seems to be a drop in the bucket compared to the other items in the General Appropriations Act. But of course, it's not up to you really. I'm sure you have submitted a bigger budget, but that's what the Congress is going to approve. I remember when I was senator, the last committee to be organized in the Senate was the Committee on Science and Technology. You know why? Because the other senators are not interested in a non-election related committee. You do not get enough votes being chairman or being member of the Committee on Science and Technology. In short, it is not given the importance that it deserves, no? And many of our congressmen and senators are still on the same level, save for some. They are the exceptions. The Inventors Incentives Law, for example, that I authored, until now it has not been implemented. It's already almost 30 years of age. Inventors Incentives Law. For one reason or another, the government has not implemented that fully. So Earl, you mentioned about innovation funding, and that we need design. We need design. We have to get people to go into design. And for this design, even if it is approved, to be commercialized. And that will require funding. Inventions, innovations, they need to be funded. No, it just does not become any innovation or invention can be an off-the-rack item that it can already be commercialized. There is a curve. There is a gap between the idea and the commercialization. So have you submitted any suggestion of how much fund should be set aside for these purposes?
Well, I mean, first of all, the solution has to be competitive with whatever's available in the world, right? So you can't just say now you need to give money to locally developed solutions. It has to be vetted. But having said that, if you cross that threshold and meet certain requirements and to a certain degree exceed the requirements, then yes, there will need to be funding, and that is one of the problems that we have come across as well on getting funding to get the product into market. Another thing is there are a lot of roadblocks in terms of being a local design company. They require certain standards that are not applicable to the local market and are still applying it. And so that has to be reviewed in terms of how to source locally designed solutions.
Nonoy, and then June, Palafox, and then we will ask questions from the chat box. Noy? Nono Yulo is the president of the Chamber of Commerce of the Philippine Islands, the oldest chamber.
Okay, just very briefly, I am reminded of a few years back when the ISO, International Standards Organization, became popular. And companies were sort of racing around on how do they get their company ISO certified. And what happened is there was born many specializing companies who would now offer ISO certification to companies. No? So in some companies I was a member of, we just call an organization in, they go into the factory, into the plant, then they recommend everything to do. It's really basically procedures that you follow. And if you follow your procedures, then they certify you. Then it reminds me of the academy that the user was mentioning, and a movie, if you got a problem, who do you call? Ghostbusters. If you need plumbing, who do you call? A professional plumber. If you need electrical problems in your building, who do you call? Electrician. Therefore, if you need AI disruption into your company, who do you call? Right now, people will just say, get an IT guy. So they scramble around looking for an IT guy who has zero knowledge and really what to do. He may not have the intelligence to, or the know-how or the wider reach to even know what applications are available for different processes in a company. So where I'm leading to is I see an opportunity where maybe DTI as well can help organize with this academy to encourage the formation of fourth IR, Industrial Revolution, professional enablers, whatever you want to call them, no? Wherein a company can pick up the phone and say, okay, guy, come in here, check my company, tell me where I can innovate, and then move on forward. No? So it is a fast tracking, and I can already see many Filipinos from Mr. maybe Banataw, who can form a company and enter into a corporation and become the disruptor, the enabler. Then it will happen fast. The same thing can be applied to government companies, government agencies, what Joel was saying. You know? They bring in an enabler, you know, to do this. So do you see that possible? Can we see an emergence of professional experts in enabling companies or any organization to go into the fourth industrial revolution?
Maybe Earl, can you help answer that question?
Yeah, the AI is a very general term. Machine learning, it's like saying, let's get into the internet. And back in the 1990s, so there are basic skills that are needed, but the real innovation is really on creating of new businesses based on that. So you really have to start with the application, what problems you want to solve, and then you draw the requirements and the solutions from that, and then that's when you start development. And so it really has to be derived from a core need of a solution to a real problem. And so that's basically the process of how you would derive and create the new AI based on, one is the information that you have on hand, and two is if there's a problem that can be solved based on that. Getting the likes of Dado Banataw and others, folks, it can be useful, but as a guide. But the path for AI, machine learning, and the application in companies that can be created based on that, that path is not set. And so you have to look at it from fresh set of eyes, knowing what problems you want to solve. It can't be the other way around. So that's just my
all right.
Yeah.
So Let me get from the chat box a comment from Anne-Lynn Lozano. She said, I've been attending this webinar from the very start, and I hope the signal will be more fine this time, because the topics were very interesting, but I can comprehend sometimes. You see, and we're talking about Industry 4.0, and the basic is it's not there, no? Which is internet. June Palafox has a comment. Ang sabi ni June, application for franchising. No, there is need to make applications for franchising of telecommunications. Elsewhere in the world, you just apply directly through the ministries, departments of telecommunications. Here, through Congress. Sabi ni June. Yusek Aldaba, any comment on this? Yeah, June is here.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Earl. Yeah. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, I think it's also related to the earlier point about the quality of internet that we have in the country. And well, hopefully with the legislation of the Public Services Act, we will be able to liberalize not just the telecommunications, but as well as the other utility sector here in the country. Because right now, what do? I mean, we only have two, and there's another one, I think, that was already given a franchise dito. Well, hopefully there would be more competition so as to stimulate and improve services, telecommunication services, and reduce the cost, improve the quality of telecommunication services in the country.
Thank you, ma'am. Our country is 400 times the size of Singapore. Singapore have 5 service providers. They have 2. And also for government permitting, like building permits. In Dubai, everything is through the internet. Paperless, good for the environment, no face-to-face corruption, faster, and so on. All permits except marriage license. I sign about more than 1,000 blueprints every week. I wonder how many trees are being felled down just for blueprints. And we have so many, forgive me for saying, stupid laws that make our country less globally competitive. Maybe we can start with, we have 1,600 mayors. 10% of them are very good. We could start with them. The 90%, I think they can be better. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Point well taken. Singapore, 400 times tayo bigger than Singapore. And they have 5 service providers. Dito sa atin, dalawa.
We have 7,000 islands.
And we have 7,000 islands. So we have more. We have very difficult to get.
Will never happen without digital.
Very difficult to get a franchise. Very difficult to get a barangay clearance, municipal permit, and so on and so forth. We have a lot of things to do. More than the innovation in terms of technology, but the basic governance issue is the biggest issue. From Babes Navarro, does the curriculum in our public schools in the primary level encourage our children to be creative and innovative? Dr. Fita, you are in touch also with DepEd. But does the curriculum of our schools encourage our children to be creative and innovative?
With the K+12, I'm hopeful that that necessary changes have already been made, but we would suggest that we enhance it some more, particularly those in the K10, K11, K12 levels were in internships, as well as those that would not be taking the university track, those that would be going to TechVoc. I think we really need to enhance those programs.
Well, maybe media can also help. It's also has a role in educating our youth. The media, when you tune in to other channels, no, Japanese, Korean, yung mga programs nila are very encouraging as far as culture, arts, institutions are concerned, no? Ang gaganda ng mga programs nila. So it's also a message to it's not only to DepEd or CHED, it's also addressed to media. According to Maricor de Jesus, it's almost 2 years that we have the pandemic, and the students are still having modules. How can AI help them have better learning? Either of our speakers.
Well, yeah, I don't know about AI, but I think first things first, connectivity, for them to be able to, have access to the, their school content. That's the most important. We've had some conversations with some principals of public schools, and they, the principal says, "Oh, yung mga dating, yung pumapalpak, naging honor student na kasi for some reason their parents are answering their school modules for them." So, there are some more basic problems that need to be solved before we, get to that point. Yeah.
Very graphic dun sa video ang pinesend mo, no? Nasa taas ng puno, naghahanap ng connection yung estudyante, no? Bakit sa puno, no? Kasi dun lang maganda yung connection. So really, in the words of many in the chat box, Jurassic itong ating internet in the Philippines. And we have been talking about this for the longest time, even if we are the text center of the world, texting center of the world, social media, we rank number 1, pero our internet or connectivity is still very poor. Okay, now should the government reconsider their priorities? I think it boils down into what problems to solve first, then take action. Well, I think this has been answered indirectly by our speakers, no? Na-present naman ni Yusek Fita kung ano yung mga areas where we can introduce innovations, especially in agriculture. In my opinion, according to Meljeline Ordonio, in my opinion, online class is not effective anymore. Hindi naman lahat ng magulang nakapag-aral, kaya nga po pinapasok para matuto ang anak at hindi matulad sa kanila. Paano turuan ng magulang ang isang paksa kung siya mismo hindi alam? Sharing lang niya ito. Well, Greg, it's 4:59 and our webinar is only supposed to be for 2 hours. There are still a lot of questions to ask, but I think our speakers have presented the topic very well, in fact, excellent, from the macro to micro, from government point of view or perspective to the private sector perspective. So maybe it's time to end the Q&A. And so back to you, Greg.
Well, thank you very much, Senator. And of course, we would like to thank especially our very valued resource persons, Yusek Fita Aldaba, Dr. Aldaba, and Earl Kwa. Very eye-opening presentations, and motivates us to read so much more on what we need to do in our respective spheres, because there's a lot of work to do, a lot of safety nets to be set up, and a lot of opportunities to be exploited on the part of the Philippine side, both public and private sector. So with that, we would like to thank our speakers. Maraming salamat po, Dr. Aldaba and Earl. We hope we could engage you in future webinars. And for the rest of the questions in the chat box, where applicable, we will forward them to you. For our audience, the answer is yes. You can get a copy of this entire webinar, which will be uploaded after the webinar is completed. You can access it very simply through our Facebook page. And now we would like to proceed with our administrative announcements prior to our closing prayer. Here we go, very quickly. Here is the answer to your question. Will you be giving certificates? Get a screenshot or scan this to access the Google Docs, and you can be lined up for your certificate, for e-certificate. We will be flashing this again at the end of the webinar after the closing prayer. Next, we would like to invite everyone here. You can sign up now simply by scanning the QR code here. September 18, that's next Saturday at 10 a.m. That's 10 a.m. in the morning, Philippine time. We will have the former chairperson of the Commission on Audit, Grace Pulido Tan, to talk about confronting corruption. Very, very relevant and up to date. You want to already sign up now, avail of the QR code right here. Take a screenshot, scan it, and again, after the closing prayer, this will be brought up. And on September 25, 2 Saturdays from now, the last webinar for September, Fiscally Challenged Public Infrastructure Funding. So for those in the finance and banking industry, this is especially for you. For those in construction as well, this is also for you. Fiscally challenged, wala na kasing pera, kaya fiscally challenged infrastructure funding, and we will have former USEC Joel Valdez to give his proposal on how this can be attained without taxing the citizenry any further. That's for our announcements, and for more, you can access our Facebook page for not only this webinar but all previous webinars through the Soul PH Facebook page. And a reminder for those who may not have yet done so, the young people out there, please register. September 30 ang deadline. Let us use our power of suffrage effectively. And with that, I'd like to call back Brother Lito Pardo for our closing prayer. Thank you very much to everyone. Brother Lito. Kindly unmute, Brother Lito.
Okay, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we learn a lot from this discussion this afternoon, and we would like to extend our gratitude to our resource persons, Dr. Fita and Mr. Earl Kua. We really learn a lot, and it has been a very exciting discussion. The opportunities cited are exciting, and the need for innovative and critical thinking becomes more compelling. Lord, we pray that our leaders will address some of the basic threats and problems cited in the discussion, particularly the digital divide infrastructure. May we cultivate, Lord, as a people, a culture of innovation and critical thinking by reinventing and re-engineering our educational system on the knowledge products that goes with it. And also reinventing our policy and regulatory framework that governs our socio-economic life. Lord, may our leaders and policymakers truly be enlightened and be responsive to the challenges of the digital age and Industry 4.0, so that as a nation together, we can face the challenges squarely and prevail. All this, Father, we ask and pray in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. And thank you very much to all. Please stay behind for those that like to capture the QR codes for succeeding webinars. That's 2 of them for the 18th and the 25th, as well the QR code for the e-certificate of attendance to this webinar. And for those who want a copy of the presentations and for that matter, the entire webinar, log on to the Soul PH Facebook page. That's it for now. And as we sign off, our team will put on the respective QR codes. You want, yeah, okay? So thank you very much. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Picture.
Picture. Sorry.
Documentation.
My bad. Could everyone please turn on their videos?
Yes.
And we'll
We learned a lot from the presentations, Mr. Kua.
Oo.
Really.
Left behind tayo. Okay.
Peter, yes.
John, could you please preside? Oh, Lori?
7 screens, so just hold on.
I like the suggestion of Mr. Manoy.
Please open your screens.
Open your
Your
screen.
video. Yan.
Now, open your screens. Okay, next.
Mahihain eh.
Our thanks again to Yusek Aldaba and Earl Kwa. Maraming salamat po. Eye-opening.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Salamat din ho.
Maraming salamat po. Sir Manoy, I like your idea. Consulting groups as enablers. I like that.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Maraming salamat po. Stay behind for those who want the QR codes for the e-certificate and to register for succeeding webinars. Thank you very much. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Fast track. Sir Manoy.